On the 12th day of Christmas, Westminster gave to me our fucked up democracy. Hello, I'm Nessa Blackmore and welcome back to whatever this is. My YouTube channel is essentially a dumping ground for my stand-up now, but own up, who stole my Maroon 5 CD? I thought, in the spirit of election fever, I'd examine some of the choices that Britain has this election, and also that we might wade through the sewage of the political commentary on Twitter that's happened so far, and some of the trash that sort of decorated this election Christmas tree. I'd also like to preface this that I'm not trying to tell anyone how to vote because, I don't know if you know this, but I'm nowhere near somewhat of an expert myself. I'm not a journalist, I'm not a politics student, I'm just a mouthy prick with a YouTube channel that no one watches. All I want to do here is try and poke fun at some of the, let's be real, underwhelming choices that the UK is faced with. Like, put it this way, the whole house is on fire, and I'm not here to fight the fire, I'm simply here with the popcorn to watch. So without further ado, let's start with the main man himself. It's Boris, bitch. He's the reason for the season, he's the reason for a lot of my anger, and he's the reason that overworked women such as myself and Diane Abbott can't just simply enjoy a pre-mixed M&S cocktail on the tube. Boris Johnson's political evolution, as it were, is comparable in my eyes to the evolution of that of the Joker. At first, he was just a whimsical maniac playing mischief across Gotham. However, now he's a disturbing and serious threat that far too many white boys look up to. Unwillingly, I do have to point out that me and Boris do have some similarities. Boris studied classics, and I also studied classics. So I do have to say it is nice to see some classical representation in politics today, because Boris Johnson is treating the UK populace like Julius Caesar, in the sense that he's stabbing us repeatedly in the back. Now, I'm not going to roast Boris by bringing up his past journalism, because Fiona Bruce already has, and it's glorious.
Racist rhetoric in this country is completely rife. Will you admit that you have personally contributed to this and say the words, "I'm sorry"?
Well, I will say, because I think you're referring to a particular article of a year or so ago, more than that.
Well, there's a few, in fairness, there's a few articles. So there's the Muslim women going around looking like letterboxes, which was last year. You referred to tribal warriors with watermelon smiles and flag-waving pickaninnies. Yeah. And then, just to get another demographic in, tank-topped bum boys.
Well, you know, if you go through all my articles, there is no doubt that you can find things that can be made to seem offensive, and of course, and I understand that. But what I will say, I defend my right to speak out.
Happily defending his own rights instead of the rights of the UK people once we leave the EU. Whilst we're at it, let's just bring up his voting history. Because according to our current Prime Minister, we need fox hunting more than disabled people need benefits. And gay people don't need to get married, but we do need a war in Iraq. What a farce of a man. Fuck me. So, comrades, it's time to move on to Jeremy Corbyn. Now, a lot of adults, boomers, compare Corbyn to Santa. He likes red, promises lots of presents, but ultimately isn't real. However, Santa is the embodiment of toxic capitalism and uses free labour, so to this comparison I say, niet. What boomers don't seem to understand is that the majority of us, by us I'm talking about the university educated, are now faced with years and years of crushing debt thanks to the tuition fees that were brought in under the coalition government. This scary thought is foreign to them because back in their day, college only cost 4 shillings and their finest goat. So whilst you're crushing us with debt, try not to crush our dreams as well, a dream that Jeremy Corbyn is presenting to us, and who can blame us for taking a fucking chance? Now, while he's not chilling with grime artists and headlining Glastonbury, he's failing to address anti-Semitism in his party. Now, whilst I love Corbyn's policies, when the Chief Rabbi and the Archbishop of Canterbury come out explicitly criticising your inaction, it really doesn't inspire... Oh shit, what's the word? It inspires... No... Oh, Jesus Christ, it's on the tip of my tongue somewhere. Moving on to Jo Swinson. Who is she? What is she? How is she? Well, she's the youngest party leader running this election, and she's also the first female leader of the Liberal Democrats. Yay! One of the biggest things for the Lib Dems in this election is cancelling Brexit. Now, people are saying this is undemocratic, and obviously this is just my opinion I'm going to give here, but Here we go. Sure, democratically, 52% of Britain voted for Brexit, but I would also argue that it's undemocratic to then have to follow through on something that was A, based on a lot of lies, and B, is so far removed from the version of Brexit that we are presented with today and is probably going to be our reality. I'm going to compare it to ordering cake. The waiter presents you with a picture of this shiny piece of cake. You've never had this cake before, and you want to change from the usual type of cake that you get, so you order it. However, then imagine if your original waiter fucks off and is then replaced by a waiter that you didn't ask for and has no idea what she's doing. And then she brings you that cake, and that cake is not only a different flavour than the cake that you originally ordered, but it's also been shat on, pissed on, and chunned on, and it was based on racism all along. And all the other waiters are yelling at her, and then she quits her job, and then you're supposed to feel sorry for her now, I guess? And then she's replaced by another waiter that you didn't ask for, and he refuses to retake your order again. Instead, he just whacks that cake in a blender, fucks it up entirely, and serves it to you on a plate, and then forces you to eat it because you ordered it in the first place. You might feel entitled to a refund. Now, this analogy might apply to cancelling Brexit altogether, but it might also be the logic to instead just having a second referendum. Of course, people should still get the option of having that shitty cake if that's what they think is best for them. But they should also maybe not get angry when people refuse to talk to them because their breath now smells like shit. Although if Brexit does end up happening eventually, I'm weirdly curious to see how it'll go. It's like watching children do a primary school experiment. Like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's like watching children put Mentos in Coke, except the Mento is our economy and the Coke is the bubbling abyss of doom. It'd just be refreshing to see the Conservatives play with Coke that hasn't been up Michael Gove's nose. I am aware I've made that joke before. I'm going to say it again until it gets outdated. About 2 years ago. Anyway, back to Jo herself. She's got some great policies that seem very appealing to the youth. She wants to legalise weed, she wants to combat climate change and has in the past combated excessive packaging on products. However, she was one of the MPs during the coalition that voted for tuition fees. Oh, why, Jo? Why? You were doing so well. Do I think they're a viable third option? Yeah. I mean, the Lib Dems made significant gains last election in some previously safe seats for the Tories and Labour. However, do I think they could win? Probably not, mate. I genuinely can't believe I have to present them as a main party now, but I guess we're going to have to talk about the Brexit Party. Hello, Nigel. He's like the weird kid at school that no one heard from during the summer, and then suddenly he's come back with a mullet and an infected tattoo of some Green Day lyrics. Having gone through a significant rebranding, the Brexit Party is now the fresh new haircut for everybody's favourite racist uncle. Now, I know that everyone presents the Brexit Party as being a one-issue party, but I would disagree. I'd say that they have so many issues. And most of those issues lie with Nigel himself, right? He's a climate change denier, he's racist, he lied in the Brexit campaign, he's anti-immigration, he wants guns to be legalised, he's sympathetic to Trump, I genuinely don't know what to say about this Muppet, except for the fact that he fucking looks like one. At the very least, he doesn't want to take away the NHS, right? That still doesn't make him likeable. If the nicest thing I can say about someone is that they don't want to take away something that millions of people rely upon to stay alive, that doesn't bode well. Although after being one of the horsemen of the apocalypse who just then fucked off straight after the Brexit campaign, it would be intriguing to see how he'd cope in a position of leadership. I reckon if he ever did genuinely get into power, he would spectacularly crumble in public. Although having just said that I'm kind of curious about it, I don't want him to stick around long enough to find out. I'm not going to talk about the Green Party because they don't have enough controversies for me to mock. And I'm not going to talk about the party that Theresa May sold her soul to in 2017 just so she could have the majority. So I thought instead we'd talk about some of the most dreadful commentators on this election. Let's jump to the most obvious man himself, Piers Morgan. A man so vile, even his co-host can't pretend to like him. Now I'm just going to read his Twitter bio here. It says, "One day you're the cock of the walk, the next a feather duster, Margot Barber." Which I must say is somewhat true for Piers, because one day he's the cock of the walk, and the rest of the time he's just a cock. The reason I want to talk about this disgusting man is because the other day, the unthinkable happened. He actually called a Tory out on their bullshit. No, I really hate this fella, and I don't really want to give him the time of day, but I just want everyone to see this clip because when I saw it, fuck me, the world imploded. Just take a look because it's actually incredibly satisfying.
And he leads a manifesto that the flagship policy in it is there going to be 50,000 more nurses. Yeah. And now you, as the Culture Secretary, a member of that cabinet, a member of the government, admit that 19,000 of them already are NHS nurses. Viewers at home go, well, this is complete nonsense. Yeah, Nikki.
Do we not have really odd maths
Even as you
here?
said that sentence, you knew that was probably a wrong avenue to go down, didn't you? Here's my problem. It's all smoke and mirrors with you guys, isn't it? On police figures, you go, great news. We're going to bring 20,000 police back to the streets. And then someone goes, yeah, but hang on. You're the ones who took 21,000 away from the streets during your 9 years in government. Why don't you just be honest?
Now, on to Piers Morgan with a bad smoky eye, Katie Hopkins. Now, she is infamous for spewing bigoted bullshit, but I'd just like to review what she's tweeted in the past 24 hours to just get a brief summary of what she's about. So, already she's tweeted something Islamophobic, something homophobic, something Islamophobic again, something Islamophobic again, something pro-Trump, something vilifying Meghan Markle. Oh, fuck me. Just take a fucking day off, love. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers, but back in 2015, Katie Hopkins said, if Labour win, I will leave Britain. And I really hope she keeps well on that promise this time round. Because A, good, fuck off, and B, leave Britain and become an immigrant. What delightful irony, you spiteful piece of shit. I wonder where she'd go as well, because she did say she'd move to the States if Trump became president, but obviously she hasn't done that. And the reason is, no one in the States knows who the fuck she is, and she'd starve of the attention that she needs to survive. And she wouldn't go to India because, as she knows, that's not a place. It's simply a delightful name for her purebred daughter who's allergic to shit white wine and those in poverty. Whoever laughs at that joke, why are you watching daytime TV? Although I'm just as deplorable for making that joke. I do wonder if she takes suggestions. I hear hell's nice this time of year. Right, I think that's just about enough of that. Anyway, whatever happens this election, I just urge you to not only think of your own needs, but also of the needs of the rest of the UK, because after all, we are a United Kingdom, even if it doesn't really feel like that anymore. I don't want to tell you how to vote, as long as you just vote. We're well past the deadline for registering to vote, so if you can vote and you're registered, then I'm going to leave all the links to every single party manifesto that I can think of that are like options to vote for in the description. And we can all just read them, drink and be merry and have a lovely Christmas whilst we pick the way that our country's going to go down in flames. If you liked this video, then too bad, I'm not going to make another one getting political on this channel because despite my degree choice, I do want a career. But you can always give this video a wee like because I need validation, because why else would I do stand-up? And who knows, maybe I'll post some more sit down, talk to the camera on my own like a crazy person videos in the future when I feel inclined, if you should want that. Anyway, Merry Christmas, be informed, make good choices, and if you're wondering who I voted for, then I voted for...
For Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.